Good morning, everyone. So the situation in Iran is not getting any better. It's not going anywhere. There's been some absolutely huge developments overnight. So I'm just going to get onto the two big ones, which is it's now being confirmed. And listen, I know you guys last night on the live stream were saying, yesterday in the day, were saying that it's been confirmed that the supreme leader is dead. However, we were struggling for that. We were struggling for that actual confirmation. Now, Donald Trump last night posted that on his Truth Social that the supreme leader of Iran is brown bread. He's gone. He's over. He's going directly to jail. He's not going to pass go, and he's not going to collect $200. So it looks like the supreme leader is now dead. Donald Trump confirmed that last night on his Truth Social, and the airport in Dubai has been bombarded. And we're going to be talking about that this morning. Listen, there is going to be thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of people stranded. So Dubai isn't just a a regional airport. It's a hub airport basically. So when I used to work in Baghdad, I know for Baghdad it's like going back to go forwards. When I used to work in Baghdad, when I used to work in anywhere in the Middle East, basically, you would fly to Dubai first and then get your connecting flight from Dubai. So Dubai is kind of like a gateway hub airport for everywhere else in the Middle East. But listen, all the airspace is being closed. Dubai airport doesn't look like it's going to be open for a long time. We are in an absolute swizzle, guys. Also, on the streets in the United Kingdom last night, we saw a really, really like Iranians and Jews out in the streets all celebrating together. Then paradoxically, we had another group of pro-Islamic regime who I could only call people in the United Kingdom, and they were doing a different protest. So listen, I do think the activation of sleeper cells is coming, but let's just get on with it, guys, because the situation is moving quickly. So let's break what we no doubt know so far from relatively reliable sources. So, excuse me. The reported death of Iran's supreme leader and the Iranian retaliatory strikes hitting Dubai International Airport. Now, what I'm giving, guys, is based on confirmed reports from major news outlets. And I totally understand. I 100% understand that this information comes out on open source media first, open source social media, and then it gets confirmed. So I'm going to stick with what's been confirmed, and then I'll jump onto the live updates. Even as I'm talking, there's live updates popping up, guys. So I'll try and get this. So the supreme leader, Khamenei, Iranian state media officially confirmed his death this morning, marking a seismic. This is a seismic shift for the Islamic community, the Muslim communities, and the Islamic Republic. The 86-year-old hardliner who ruled since 1989 was killed in the joint US-Israeli airstrikes that began pre-dawn on February 28th. Did somebody say that these airstrikes were going to go in on February the 28th? I don't know. Maybe someone did. Maybe they didn't. I don't know. Airstrikes targeting his secure compound in central Tehran. Satellite imagery shows the heavily damaged buildings collapsed, smoke rising, though he was reportedly carrying out duties there at the time. A state TV broadcaster broke down in tears and, sorry. I'm not laughing at the death of someone. I'm just laughing at of a state media, like news anchor breaking down. Sorry. So a state media broadcaster broke down in tears, announcing his martyrdom, and the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps vowed to avenge him. Earlier speculation arose from Israeli intelligence assessments claiming that he was dead, but the foreign ministry initially said he was alive. The Iranian foreign ministry, As far as I know, that's all changed now, obviously, with the official confirmation. Reactions inside Iran are mixed. State media reports mourning in places but social media footage shows celebration in various cities. President Trump called it justice for the people of Iran, urging a regime change. While Benjamin Netanyahu cited many signs of his demise, the assembly of experts is expected to convene for his succession. But the IRGC, the Israeli, the Islamic Republican Guard Corps, or is it the Islamic Republic Guard Corps, says the old guard remains in control. No wider internal chaos has been reported. So it does look like the IRGC are still in control in Iran. Now, shifting to what's been happening in Dubai, because this is going to affect so many people that are, maybe out on holiday trying to get back, because once those airports, like Dubai airport's being hit now, Dubai airport won't be open for a while. That's just the reality. They're not going to open it up. It's not like, it's not like Baghdad airport that used to get bombed all the time. Baghdad airport used to get bombed all the time, and people just dealt with it. So there have been attacks on Dubai airport as part of Iran's broader retaliation entering the second day. Dubai International Airport, one of the world's busiest hubs, was hit during a barrage of missile and drone strikes targeting Gulf states hosting the United States assets. Explosions were heard early Sunday morning with a concourse sustaining minor damage. From what authorities called an incident likely to be a drone or missile strike, 4 staff were also injured. Passengers have been evacuated amid smoke filling the terminals, and operations are suspended. This follows an initial hit on Saturday with plumes of smoke visible near the airport and the Jebel Ali airport. Broader strikes targeted luxury sites like the Burj Al Arab Hotel, Palm Jumeirah Island. And look, guys, if you guys remember back in the I don't know if you guys can remember, back in, I think it was 2010 or 2011, the big ash cloud in Iceland, I think it was, or somewhere that way. All flights over Europe were stopped, and I was stuck in Dubai airport. And I can say I've been there, literally in that airport in a similar crisis. Potentially not as big as this one, but you've got families, you've got people just trying to get home, you've got people on holiday, people at work, people transiting through. It's just going to be absolute carnage there, that whole Middle East right now, because people will imagine you're on holiday, right? And the airport gets bombed and you're in the middle of a war zone. How do you get home? All flights are all flights are stopped. Do you go to a hotel? Can you find a hotel? It's going to be difficult. So similar attacks hit Abu Dhabi. Hit Kuwait, focusing on US bases but spilling into civilian infrastructure. Thousands of flights have been cancelled across the region, with airspace closures and carriers, and I did a list of them yesterday, all grounding routes. Also, oil tankers off the coast of Oman have been struck. Iran's calls these crushing responses with no red lines. And I think that's the main out of Iran, guys. I think that's the main thing that people need to understand there. There are no red lines now. That's from the Iranians. The Iranians are saying that we're going to launch crushing attacks with no red lines, which clearly means sleeper cells will be activated. Now I'm going to do a live stream later on, and I'm going to talk about specific sleeper cell threat to the United Kingdom. I think we'll start to see those first attacks hit the West on, I think, Tuesday. I think those first maybe before, but I would say to expect them on or around Tuesday. Overall, this conflict shows no signs of easing. Israel and the United States launched fresh attacks today. Fears of wider war is looming, and I would say proxies, sleeper cells are all going to be activated. Remember that phrase, guys, okay? No red lines. So that's where we are, right, guys? No red lines at the moment. That's what the Iranians are saying. Right, let me jump down, guys. Morning, everyone. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Listen, guys, if you're on and you've not done so already, please hit those buttons. Like, comment, subscribe. Watch Harrison is saying people are leaving. Funny Google reviews on hotels like 1 star, no air defense. Like no air defense. Silly Galadi, who's in Israel, is saying free Iran. Yeah, wild scenes last night in the United Kingdom. There were literally, people waving the old Iranian flag, with the lion in the middle, and like the Star of is it the Star of David, the Jewish flag, and people were celebrating in the streets in London. And then, like maybe a couple of streets away, there were people out showing solidarity with the Iranian regime. Google Enos is saying, I don't think killing their leader did anything apart from unite the Islamic regime in Iran. Yeah. Well, yeah. There's two ways this can go, right? Taking out the leader, it can solidify those people in that country and think, well, listen, do you know what? We are in this now. They've taken out our leader. We may have not liked him. We may have not agreed with everything he did, but he was our leader. So that may solidify people. Equally, those people that were going out on the streets protesting, they may feel like they have a gap, a moment of opportunity to strike now while the head of the line's being taken down. Time will tell. Lewis Ackers, I've just seen Lewis Ackers' comment. Lewis Ackers is saying, Sean, are you on the beers? I'm not on the beers yet, guys, but listen, now is not the time to be sober. Nobody needs to be sober right now. Right, Bradders, I'm putting you in temporary timeout, mate, but come back soon. Right, let me jump onto the live update. So listen, ladies and gentlemen, if you're on for the first time, the breaking news is the supreme leader of Iran is dead. This has been reported by Donald Trump now on his Truth Social, and it's also been confirmed by Iranian state media. So I don't think there's nobody's under any illusion now. The supreme leader of Iran is dead. There have been multiple strikes in that region. Dubai airport has suffered multiple attacks, and there will be thousands of people stranded out there now. This is going to spill into an all-out war, guys. It really will. We are in day two. We're in day two. And if you compare this now to the initial, not the initial, to the 12-day war back in, what was it? Like maybe June, July last, I don't know, whenever it was last year on the solstice. If you guys compare this to the previous 12-day war, what you can see is the retaliation from Iran has been far wider reaching. They are now, they've pulled the pins, they've let the safety catch off. And that quote now from the Iranians, there are no red lines. So what they're saying is, they are going scorched earth, guys. The Iranians are going scorched earth. Right. There's been some, right, I'm going to jump on Al Jazeera, guys, because Al Jazeera is going crackers now. Al Jazeera has a lot more, Al Jazeera get the information out quicker when you're talking about the Middle East. Hang on a minute. 13 seconds ago, 2 Iranian missiles on their way to Cyprus. Okay, so they are right. So I'm just reading this here, guys. So 2 Iranian missiles fired in the direction of Cyprus. Let me share this with you. I'm literally, this was 13 seconds ago. So there's RAF Akteri in Cyprus. 2 Iranian missiles fired in the direction of Cyprus. British Defence Secretary John Healey tells Sky News broadcaster that 2 missiles have been fired in the direction of Cyprus, where thousands of British soldiers are stationed. They're not. Sorry. They don't believe they were targeting Cyprus, but nevertheless, it's an example of how there is a real and rising threat from the regime that is lashing out widely across the region, and that requires us to act. he said of Saturday's launches. Iranian strikes on Saturday landed within a few hundred yards of British troops in Bahrain. I'm just jumping down, guys. Yeah, the whole situation is going bonkers. And, I would speculate that there would be some sort of... So, take what we just said. The Iranians are saying there are no more red lines. Now, no more red lines to me means there's no more red lines. And you've got to understand the first of all, you've got to understand the culture, right? You've got to understand the culture. For the Iranians now, there's no going back. There's no off ramp. There's no, for the people in charge of Iran right now, they know that if they don't win, they're going to be sent to the candy shop. Maybe not by Donald Trump, maybe not by US forces, but maybe by their own, maybe that by their own people, who they've been brutally ruling over. Right, let me jump onto the chat, guys. Hertzman is saying explosions were reportedly heard in Riyadh, the capital of Saudi Arabia. This whole thing's turned into a regional war very quickly. The Iranians are just lashing out now at everyone. Now, what that's going to do is it's going to solidify the Emirati nations. The Emirati nations, like the Muslim nations who don't want war. They're not really bothered. They just want to, get along. So I think that's what it's going to do. And if there are boots on the ground, it may be Saudi Arabian boots on the ground. It may be, it may be whatever. But this is just, another one of those indications. Excuse me. It's just another... Hang on a minute. Silly Gallardi is saying Putin condemned the Khamenei elimination. I think Putin knows that he may be on some sort of list at some point, and those drone strikes may be coming for him at some point. So right now, this... hang on. So right now, this whole... In fact, let me share you this. Let me share with you guys this video. So earlier on when I said Jews and Iranians are celebrating. So these are the scenes in the United Kingdom, in London. I mean, look at that. Iranian flags with Jewish flags celebrating together. Who would have ever thought of that in their wildest, in their wildest dreams? So the world is changing, ladies and gentlemen. The world is changing, and you guys have got front row tickets, and you are witnessing the world changing, and you guys have got front row tickets, and you guys are watching it all in HD. Where was I going before I said that? Can't remember where I was going. Do you know what, guys? I can't remember where I was going before I said that. So what I think will happen after this, whenever you get these events in the Middle East, you will obviously have people in the United Kingdom who are pro-Iranian regime. I would speculate that many of them are not Iranians, right? Hang on. I would say a lot of these are not Iranians, and they just want to, I would say a lot of these are not Iranians, and they just want to cause havoc and mayhem on the streets in the United Kingdom. Right, let me jump over to the chat. There's loads of those videos, guys. I'll share with you. I'll share them with you later on. Sean, are you a Zionist? No, I don't think I'm a Zionist. But I googled what a Zionist was earlier, and like a couple of weeks ago, I googled what is a Zionist, and you know what? Because honestly, like I never really thought what that word meant. So let me Google this. Right, so just let me share this for everyone. So Danny Stonehouse is asking me, Sean, are you a Zionist? Now, I just Googled what is a Zionist. A Zionist is a person who supports the right of the Jewish people to self-determination and the existence of a Jewish state in their ancestral homeland, the land of Israel, biblical Zion, emerging. So, like, I don't like, people like, people get, oh, you're a Zionist and you're, I'm like, oh, well, I wouldn't say I'm a Zionist. No, I wouldn't say I would go out of my way to tell people that I'm a Zionist, but like, do I think that like people should have a homeland? Absolutely. Like, I believe that British people should have a homeland. I believe that Christians should have a homeland. I believe that, Eritreans should have a homeland. So I'd really like to talk to a Muslim about this. These Muslims are always saying, oh, we need to get these Zionists off our streets. I'd like to talk to somebody like, I just like to talk to someone like, I'd like to talk to a Muslim scholar who is totally against Zionists. And I'd just like to say to him or her in a very polite manner, I'd just like to say, listen, mate, can you just explain to me, like, from your perspective, what a Zionist means? Because I genuinely, I'm looking on the internet and I literally Googled it there for you guys. And the definition there was, whatever it was, I've closed it down. Something like a Zionist is somebody who believes in a homeland for the Jewish people. So I'm like, is that it? Surely there's got to be more to it than that, right? Surely there's got to be more to it than that. So in response to your question, Danny Stonehouse, I don't think I'm a Zionist, no. But I think everybody should have a right to some land that they can call their home. Doesn't everyone? So I don't know my actual, Daughter of Christ is saying, I believe that Israel reserves the right to their own land. After all, it was a covenant by Abraham. Therefore, right. Guys, listen, I really don't want to get into this. I don't want to get into this. Crow is saying, Sean, what are the protocols of Zion? I don't know, guys. I don't know. Raven playing, guys, right. Will Raz, can you tell me, right, I don't want to get down this, guys. I really don't want to go down this now. Right, I'll do another live stream, right? I'll do another live stream and we can talk about what Zionist means, but I genuinely, from that definition, I don't know. Real Sassafras is saying, no, it's not correct, Daughter of Christ. It was for the chosen ones to spread the word of Christ. They're not the chosen ones. They don't believe in Christ. Right, look, guys, I genuinely don't know. Right, okay, we're all coming out with some biblical stuff here, all right? Let's not worry, right? Let's not worry about it now, all right? Because we have opened a can of worms on this article, guys, okay? We have opened an absolute carticle. We have opened up we have opened a can of worms on this topic. Right, let me jump back onto these live updates, ladies and gentlemen, because there are live updates coming in thick and fast. If you guys are joining for the first time, we have been talking today about the breaking news of the hour, which is it has been confirmed. It's been confirmed, ladies and gentlemen. First off, the Iranian supreme leader, he's brown bread. He's gone. He's been taken to the candy shop. He kept going till he hit the spot. The airplanes came in and they dropped some bombs, and now he's gone. The Iranian state media officially confirmed his death this morning. Now, look, for those of you guys who were on the live stream last night, I know that, yesterday afternoon, actually, the rumors came out from Channel 12 in Israel, Israeli Channel 12. Now, where I wasn't doubting the sincerity, I just didn't want to confirm it myself. I've been through quite a few of these conflicts, and I know that in the initial phases, information gets thrown out there thick and fast. There's misinformation, there's dual reporting, there's underreporting. Somebody goes over and says, "Mate, how many casualties are there?" And he says, 3. And then somebody else goes out there and he says, "Mate, 3 casualties." And then he's like, "Oh, right, okay, so that's 6." And that's not 6, that's 3. You've just had 2 people tell you. There's a lot of confusion. This doesn't mean people are trying to mislead you. It just means people are worried, people are scared, people are trying to do their job right, people have got lots of things to think about. So I didn't want to report on, I didn't want to confirm this last night, even though everybody was talking about it. The initial source material was still the same. Last night about, like 8 o'clock, maybe 10 o'clock UK time, it came out on the news that Donald Trump made it official last night. He said, put on his Truth Social platform that the supreme leader of Iran is dead. And then this morning, this was confirmed by Iranian state media. Now, look, a couple of things that everybody needs to understand on this, right? You know how I keep saying to people, like, you can't believe anything, it's not that you can't believe it. You've got to take everything that comes out of Iran with a pinch of salt, okay? So this is a perfect example, right? Perfect example. The Iranians, they were denying this. They were saying, no, the supreme leader is not dead. He's on a mission. He's on a secret mission somewhere. Oh, I can't remember what he said. But they were quite adamant, and they were making lots of press conferences saying, no, he is not dead. He's not dead. He's still alive. He's still alive. He's still alive. And then this morning, oh, yeah, he's dead. So what I'm getting at, you can't take anything that comes out of here as out of Iran as 100% truthful. Again, one of the things I was talking about last night was I was saying, listen, if there was 2 intelligence services I had to listen to, I would go with, if I had the Iranians giving me information and the Israelis giving me information, I would tend to think the Israeli information was more accurate, because what happens is if you don't give accurate information, you lose credibility. If you lose credibility, people don't listen to you. If people don't listen to you, you lose control. So it's always best in these, it's always best to give real information that's been really confirmed by a credible source. So the 86-year-old hardliner who'd ruled since 1988, was killed in a joint US-Israeli airstrike that began pre-dawn on February the 28th. Listen, guys, I've done many videos about this, saying the exact date that these strikes were going to go in. I think I did my first video telling you guys exactly when these airstrikes were going to go in 2023. In 2023, I'm pretty sure that I did if you're on YouTube, go and scroll through my older videos. 2023, I said, before Donald Trump was even elected, I said Donald Trump gave you the exact date he was going to go in, and I said Donald Trump's going to go into the Middle East that date. Closer to the time, we identified the exact day that this has happened, all right? We identified, and I've got no other information than what you guys have got. Using open source media, using intuition, and using logic, taking everything into context, we said that I said, and those of you guys on the chat, you guys have heard me say this many times. We said, right, we believe the first airstrikes are going to go in on February the 28th. It did. So now, listen, I know this is a little bit of a side quest. I know I'm probably once everything's calmed down, I'm going to start doing more videos about this. These UFOs and these UAPs that are on their way here, I'm seeing something really dark with that. But listen, let's not worry about that, because the joint US-Israeli airstrikes that took out the Islamic Supreme Leader started pre-dawn on February the 28th, targeting his secure compound in central Tehran. Satellite images have shown the site heavily damaged, buildings collapsed, smoke rising. Excuse me. Though he was initially reported to be carrying out his duties there at the time. A state TV broadcaster broke down in tears this morning. I've seen this, and I'm not laughing at the loss of anyone's life. I'm not laughing at the loss of anyone's life. You know, he was a very bad man, but I think everyone deserves life. I just think it's funny that, like, a state media broadcaster broke down in tears. So a state media broadcaster in Iran broke down in tears, announcing his martyrdom. And the Islamic Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps vowed to avenge him. They've also said that they are now, that there are no more red lines. That's what the Islamic Republic, the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps. I keep saying the Iranian Revolutionary, the IRGC. I'll just say that. They are saying that there are no more red lines. So that kind of, to me, that says that they are taking the safety catch off, and they are going to activate all sleeper cells everywhere. That's what I would do. Like, why would you not do that? If you were under attack and you were looking at a regime change and you was looking at, everything gone and your loss on power, you've lost anyway, right? Why not activate everything and go full on scorched earth? Right, I'm just going to jump up. In fact, there's been an update here, guys. Let me get this update. Oh, okay. So, right, so just a quick update from Iran. The Iranians have appointed a member of a powerful constitutional watchdog has been appointed to the 3-member temporary council that is by law to govern until a new supreme leader can be chosen. The 67-year-old cleric, who is a member of the Guardian Council, that sounds cool. I want to be a member of the Guardian Council. I am senior member of Guardian Council. All my accents seem to be Russian at the moment. The 67-year-old cleric, who is a member of the Guardian Council that must later choose a supreme leader, was confirmed to the council by an expenditure council, a powerful... Right, okay. Yeah, okay. They're just saying that... Okay, so now in... so now in Iran, there are 3 clerics. So there are 3 clerics now who have taken the position of the supreme leader, and they are to govern until they can choose another supreme leader. Now, it looks like from these reports from Al Jazeera that these are all hardliners. It looks like these are all hardliners. So what you could see now is a more, just... If you can imagine such a matter, a stronger, potentially more extreme response. Right, and another report in just 30 seconds ago, guys. So strikes have previously taken around Tehran, but today it's a different scenario because they are in the middle of the city. So there are airstrikes going in now to the central Tehran. And obviously, for those of you guys who don't know, Tehran is the capital city of Iran. 7 locations have been hit including around Tehran's airport. There is no specific information on the targets, whether they were linked to the military or the government. Strikes have hit close to major hotels, malls, and Iranians are now afraid like never before because the campaign is getting closer to their homes. Many are now looking for food and provisions, wondering how long this will go on. Okay. So if you live in the United Kingdom, I don't see any scenario right now where we don't have sleeper cells activated in the United Kingdom. No, I don't see any scenario where in the United Kingdom there are no cases of stabby, rammy, blowy uppy. I see that now as an almost like a high likelihood of spilling out onto the streets of the United Kingdom. I think this will start with clashes between Iranians and Muslims from other countries, right? I think that will happen. That will then just spread and escalate. And it's like what I keep saying. We are so far gone in the United Kingdom now. A civil war is, I mean, what are the police going to do? Who are the police going to come down on if two rival gangs of Muslims are fighting? But what I've said and what is still true is we are heading to this situation in the United Kingdom where it's not going to be civil war. It's going to be us versus them until those guys that so now we've got this really peculiar situation where Jewish people and Iranians are allying in the streets with street celebrations. And then paradoxically, you've now got other Muslims who are coming out on the streets in show of solidarity for the supreme leader. Well, I guess not the supreme leader because he's dead. For the Islamic regime. So it's only a matter of time before these guys clash. Now, I would speculate that when these attacks went in, and if it didn't happen straight away, it certainly happened by now. Somebody will have got on the phone and said, right, mate, activate every sleeper cell. I want all sleeper cells activated now. I want fucking chaos and carnage across the West. That's what I want, and they're not going to care what country is or is not doing this. Now, that takes time, right? That is going to take time to plan. That's going to take time to prepare and execute. For example, the sleeper cells may need to go to B&Q and buy some equipment, right? They may need to, just get stuff ready. So it's not going to happen instantly. And I would say, if we're talking about sleeper cells in the United Kingdom, I would say the likelihood is that we are going to, well, maybe not in the United Kingdom, but certainly across the West. You will see these first, I would say you would see these first retaliatory, asymmetric, non-conventional sleeper cell sabotage, whatever. I would say you will see those first ones go in on Tuesday. I think that's, obviously it could happen before, it could happen after, but I would say Tuesday for me is the day that that's going to happen. Listen, ladies and gentlemen, if you guys are joining for the first time, make sure you hit those buttons down below, the like, comment, subscribe, bell notification. We are talking about the breaking news of the hour, which is the war, the conflict, the regional war now in the Middle East. The supreme leader, he's dead, he's brown bread, he's gone, he ain't coming back. He's gone to the candy shop and he's got spending all he's got. Dubai airport's been attacked. There are multiple locations all over the Middle East that have all been attacked. This is pretty much an all-out war right now, guys. And there are no signs. There are no signs of things easing off. The Americans and the Israelis, they can sustain this now. They have enough assets in place. They can sustain this. If you guys think about the 12-day war, the 12-day war was that was long-range strikes, basically. They were long-range strikes. Excuse me. They were long-range surgical strikes. The stealth bombers. The what are they? The B-2 bombers, the B-2 stealth bombers. That was a long flight. Maybe certainly one air-to-air refueling, maybe two. Maybe they had to refuel twice in the air to get to the targets, drop the munitions and get back. That doesn't happen now because of the regional assets in that location. Right, I've got an update here, guys, from a couple of minutes ago. Let me share this with you. The Iranian president says revenge. Hang on, well, how do I share? Sometimes I keep forgetting how to share. Right, the Iranian president is saying revenge. Says revenge is legitimate. So let's see what this is. Iranian president says revenge legitimate. The president of Iran says the assassination of Khamenei is an open war against Muslims. I told you this was coming, ladies and gentlemen. So they're claiming, I told you this was coming. Right. So the Iranians are now saying that this is an open war against Muslims. So guess what? All around the West now, Muslims will be under the illusion that they are under attack. Like if Muslims were under attack, why are we like? Why? I'm not even going to go into that. Right. In a statement published on the official Telegram channel of the Iranian government, the president said Iran considers bloodshed and revenge against the perpetrators and instigators of this historic crime as its legitimate duty and right, and will do its utmost to fulfill this great responsibility and duty. Don't they talk like, Questions have been circulating about the president's fate. A spokesperson says that the Iranian president is in perfect health and safety. You see, now that moment of surprise has gone, there's going to be a lot of, now that moment of surprise has gone. All the high-ranking Iranians, they will all be, in some sort of hardcover, that makes it more difficult to get to. New Revolutionary Guard commander named in Iran. Can you imagine? Can you imagine that? Right, who's next in line? Can you imagine now? You're in Iran, right? You've got all the all the generals are lined up, and like, right, who's taking over next? And everybody's looking at the floor. No, fuck me. No, I'm not doing this. I'm not doing this. At least 9 dead. At least 9 dead in pro-Iran protest at the U.S. consulate in Karachi. Hundreds of pro-Iranian protesters took to the street in Karachi, Lahore, and Islamabad following the U.S. and Israeli strikes on Iran. Officials of a private rescue service, EDHI, I think that's, I don't know what that is, a foundation, confirmed that they had shifted 9 dead bodies and dozens injured to hospital. Clashes started when police tried to stop the demonstrators from entering the consulate complex. Police have not issued an official statement from the situation. Wow. So, yeah, it does look like the previous statement we said there. Let me jump up and get this. Yeah, so it does look like the previous statement here, where the president of Iran is calling this an open war against Muslims, is resonating with some people. And then if you double that up with the, the Iranians saying that there's no more red lines now, no red lines. Right, guys, listen, there are loads of comments on the chat. I do apologize. If I can't get any of if I miss some of the comments on the chat. Silly Galadi is saying are you saying there are more alarms now in Israel? Elisa Brittany is saying, as a Texan who moved to Scotland 20 years ago, why did you all give up your guns again? I don't know. I don't know why we gave up our guns. I think it was one of the worst mistakes we've ever done in the United Kingdom. But yeah, we're not allowed guns in the United Kingdom. The real sassafras is saying it's also to distract Russia and the Ukraine war, because in about another 18 months, Russia just got a bomb Germany and Britain. It's like the beginning of World War III, people. I would say we're already in World War III. I think when everything's done, right, and we're all, you know, and there's been a mass depopulation, and we're all sat there thinking, wow, that escalated quickly. I think people will look back. Let's be clear. Nobody called World War One World War One while they were fighting it, right? Nobody called World War Two World War Two while they were fighting it. There was never an official announcement come up and say, like, I hereby declare on the decree of the 9th thing that we are officially in World War II. Nobody ever announced that. It was only afterwards. People put these dates together and said, look, you know, and then they give like these key, excuse me, they give these key dates. But like anyone who understands history, anyone who understands history understands that, like, World War II, you could argue that World War II actually started in 1936 with the Spanish Civil War, because the Germans went and helped. They deployed lots of troops to the Spanish Civil War in 1936. Nobody talks about that, you know. So when we look back through history, people will put dates on these things, but I'm confident we are living in that right now. Lisa Jane is saying, BBC 2 minutes ago, Israel and Iran exchange fresh attacks after Iran regime supreme leader is killed. Yeah, this conflict, ladies and gentlemen, there is no sign of this conflict simmering. It's absolutely not simmering at all. If anything, it's escalating. Sean, will you be leading the first wave of assaults when things kick off here, or will you hide in your bunker with the Salvation Army? It depends what it kicks off, guys, and whether it's listen. I'm going down a rabbit hole at the moment, right? I watched somebody posted a video of Terminator 2. You know, Terminator 2, where, where they're in the Arnold. I mean, that is prime Arnold. You know, when he comes out of that biker bar and that, what is it? George Thorogood on his like, bad to the bone. And that is just so badass. That in that movie, he's in the car and he's explaining to Sarah Connor how AI takes over. And what he says is terrifying. He's talking to him on August 29th, 1997. Skynet development, artificial intelligence, and all stealth bombers become automated. They fly with a perfect record. So basically, in the Terminator 2, what he says is that, you know, they put AI into all stealth bombers and turn them into drones. And then he says like that the computer became self-aware, so they tried to pull the plug. So when they tried to pull the plug on AI went nuclear, attacked Russia. Russia fired back, and then they built these robots. Have you seen the robots that are getting built now by General? Is it General Dynamics? Whatever that robot, it's terrifying. It is terrifying. So maybe it's going to be like a robot invasion, a robot apocalypse. Lewis Ackers is saying, let's face it, our history will be whitewashed for future generations. Well, I mean, maybe whitewash is not the right word to use. Will Raz is saying, NP, the Lions will I don't know what that means, Will Raz, I don't know what that means. I don't know what that means. Clarendon is saying, need to investigate the bigger picture, Sean. Let's dive deep. Palantir. So for those of you guys who don't know, a Palantir, those of you guys who are disciples, like I am proud to admit, I'm a disciple of Tolkien. So those of you guys who know what the word Palantir means, the Palantir is it's an orb in Lord of the Rings that the Dark Lord uses to spy on people. You know, and it gives him all the information. So that's that word Palantir. That's what, you know, that's what it means. Now, it is a little bit concerning how what Palantir is. Now we're told it's just it's just an information management program. But with that information, you can do great and terrible things. Right, hang on a minute, guys. 1 minute ago. Oh, hang on, 6 minutes ago. Right. Jesus. Right. I've just got some updates here, guys, from 6 minutes ago. I've got 3 updates, all within the last 6 minutes. So Israel continues powerful airstrikes on Tehran. Israeli defense minister has issued a statement saying the army is carrying out would it not be the Air Force? Carrying out intensive strikes targeting sites belonging to the Iranian regime. Interceptions over dense Doha areas trigger fires, security tight around storage facilities. This morning, we woke up to 3 different waves of those explosions. The Qatari Ministry of Defense said the early warning systems worked and that interception operations took place. There were no casualties. So when these missiles come in, right, they are clearly heading for a target. They're heading for a target. When the interceptors go up, the interceptors will take them down, you know, and then all that shit falls onto the floor. My friend in Kiev, I was talking to him. He says, "Yeah, I'm not living in the city anymore. I'm going out into the countryside, into my my summer house. I'm going to live there, and then I'll just travel in." I said, "All right." He said, "Yeah, I'm not in the flight path of anything here. I'm not in the flight path of anything. You know, I'm quite safe out here." Anyway, like literally the next day, he sent me a picture. He sent me a picture of a Kinzhal missile that had been intercepted and fell on his garden fence. So, like, when these things get intercepted, they're still not safe because they're heavy bits of steel then. Falling out the sky. And as of a couple of seconds ago, direction of Iran still unclear as officials try to project stability. Abbas Aslani, senior research fellow at the Center for Middle East Strategic Studies, has told Al Jazeera many ordinary Iranians are asking what directions both the conflict and the country itself will now take. Officials here are trying to project stability, emphasizing that the situation is under control. It's not under control, guys. Nothing's under control right now. And that state institutions are functioning effectively. Today, the airstrikes, the US-Israeli airstrikes, targeted security and military infrastructure in the capital, Tehran, and other cities. There are expectations that such strikes could continue and possibly intensify in the coming hours or days, he said. That prospect of escalation is not something many ordinary Iranians welcome. At the same time, Iranian officials are issuing strong warnings suggesting they could respond with capabilities they have not previously used against Israel or the United States. Right, okay, so I don't know what that means. And again, what you've got to understand is what's happening behind the scenes here. So Putin. Okay, so we have a reaction from Vladimir Putin. Vladimir Putin, this is literally just in, guys, 10 seconds ago. Vladimir Putin calls Khamenei killing a cynical murder. We have a reaction by Vladimir Putin, the president of Russia, about the killing of Khamenei. Russia's TASS news agency said Putin had expressed his condolences to the Pezeshkian. I don't know what that. I think that's the president. Over the killing of Iran's supreme leader. It also quoted him saying that Khamenei's killing was a cynical murder in violation of all standards of human morality and international law. Honestly, like, I think that's satire. I think Putin's trolling everyone there. So Putin is saying that the killing of Khamenei, the supreme leader of Iran, was a cynical murder in violation of all standards of human morality and international law. First of all, there's no such thing as international law. It doesn't exist. It's not relevant. So anyone that uses it doesn't know that there isn't international law. I don't think Russia are held to the same standards as America. And I don't think Iran is held to the same standards as, I don't know, Britain, right? Remember, in Iran, they still have stoning as a form of punishment. And I don't mean like where you roll up a cigarette and like sit outside under the bike sheds or something. I mean when you bury someone and throw rocks at their head until they be dead, dead, dead. Now, Vladimir Putin coming out in the last couple of minutes and saying that this is a violation of all standards of human morality. Like, he's literally just invaded a country, right? He's literally invading a country, and his officers and his generals and not even his officers, his generals, like his commanders on the ground are zeroing people who refuse to fight. I don't know. I think he's trolling people. I think Putin's trolling people. And what I think he's doing here is I think he's doing this for his own political gain. Because you will have a lot of people on the West now saying, oh, look how humane Putin is. Don't listen to what people say, guys. Look at what they do, all right? Actually, yes, listen to what they say, but also look at what they do. Let your eyes tell you the truth. Right, let me jump back on. In fact, hang on, give me a second. Right, there's more updates here. Right, literally 1 minute ago, Iran state media says 57 people killed in Tehran attacks. Gulf nations intercept the latest wave. Can I make that? Okay. Gulf nations intercept the latest wave of strikes from Iran, but some injured. They're reporting. Right. Let me jump onto the chat, guys. Good morning, everyone. Silly Gallardi is saying, the real. Are you saying that to me? I will say we are protecting you. Is that to me? I don't know if that's to me, Silly. Is that? I don't know if that's to me. Oh, no, I think she's talking. All right, okay, I think she's talking to him. Okay, that makes sense then. That makes sense. I was just jumping in the middle there. Jerusalem is the holiest city on earth. How so-called holy people can fire missiles and drones at it is beyond me. Have you seen, like, can you guys remember, like, when the Islamic State took over in Iraq? There was loads of like ancient Christian monuments, and they just like really like UNESCO UNESCO stuff. They just destroyed them. Now, if you guys want to go down conspiracy lane and talk about the Epic of Gilgamesh, Iraq, Babylon, ancient Samaria, and the Anunnaki, then you can have a reason why. Or otherwise, it's just mindless violence. Rosie is saying there's stoning in Afghanistan, India, and Pakistan. Don't forget, stoning took place in the Greek islands going back 60 years. Yeah, basically anywhere that has Sharia, they have stoning. Lisa Jane is saying Chinham. Who's Chinham? Who's Chinham? I don't know who Chinham is. Chinham. I don't know who Chinham is. Lisa Jane, is that a typo? I don't know if that's a typo. Mystic Rock Hound Fossil is saying WW3. And what a fantastic thumbnail you have, Mystical Rock Hounding Fossil. I love Mystical Rock Hounding Fossil's thumbnail. I do. I love it. What a fantastic thumbnail. Oh, she means China. Right. She means China. Right. Okay. Right. I've got this. Right. Okay. Right. Thank you so much. Right. Okay. So Lisa Jane is saying GB News breaking now on TV, China, because it came from China. China criticizes US Israel airstrike. Look, we are in day 2 of this. We're in day 2. The Iranians and the Russians, the allies. Sorry, we are in day 2 of this. The Iranians, who are under heavy bombardment now, they will be calling in their regional allies. Their regional allies, well, I guess they're not regional, but their international allies would be, their main allies would be Russia, because we know that the Iranians and the Russians are well allied. They are very well, put together. So I would speculate that some of that Russian manufacturing capacity is going to go to Iran. So let's consider now that the Iranians will have very soon an uptick of missiles and drones that they can then use and, do whatever they want with. D. Marie Gen X is saying, sure, what time do you think this will drag out in Iran until new powers are installed? So there's already a council installed right now, and I don't think that council is going to leave. I don't think there's going to be a new Ayatollah anytime soon. So there's 3 people in charge now. And I think they're going to keep it that way because, you've got safety in numbers, right? If you take out one, if there's one Ayatollah, it becomes easy to take that guy out. It does. It becomes easy. It's like, all right, we took that guy out. If there's a council, it becomes harder and a little bit more and a little bit, less. It makes no sense taking out the council, right? Because they're the council. Yes, of course, it makes sense taking out the council, but it's not as big a blow if you take down the head of the snake. So right now, there's this interim. There's like an interim council in Iran. North Korea, guys, it's just come out. North Korea now. Jesus Christ, can you guys see these lines in the sand now? Russia, China, North Korea, all backing Israel. All backing Iran. Guys, it's very difficult when you've got 2 countries at war and they both start with the same letter. It's very difficult when you're doing analysis and commentary. But from 1 minute ago from Al Jazeera, the North Koreans, and for those of you guys who don't know, they're the ones who are like pretty wild. It's pretty crazy in North Korea. In North Korea, the North Koreans have come out like 2 minutes ago. This has been reported on Al Jazeera. So the North Koreans are now backing Iran. And just come back to what D. Marie Gen X has said about how long before there's a new supreme leader. I don't think there will be, because at the moment, right now, there is there's a council. I think they're called like the Guardian Council or something. And basically, it's 3 clerics. They've been put together to form an interim, a temporary council, I guess, that is to govern until they find another supreme leader. And I just don't think they're going to do that. And I just don't see that anytime soon. I don't see that happening anytime soon. Right, guys, listen, if you're on for the first time and you've not done so already, please hit those buttons down below, the like, comment, subscribe. Really helps me out when you do this. Right. I am going to close this down now. Silly Gallardi is saying Palestine was a name of the region used by only European. The Ottoman never used it, and Arabs still call it Bilad Asham, south of Syria. Right. I think there's arguing going on here about like Palestinians and stuff. Yeah, so listen, I'm gonna leave. Right, guys, I'm gonna close this down in like after this. If I hang on, there's another update. Right, there's another update. Iran's attack on Oman's Duqm port, serious violation. Yeah, look, nobody cares. Nobody cares. Like, nobody cares anymore. Like, nobody cares about violations of international law anymore. The only thing that matters right now is kinetic power. That's the only thing that matters. In peacetime, legislative power, right? Your laws, your legislation, your little bits of paper. Oh, yes, but this Article B in point 4D says that we can. It's all, nobody cares. Nobody cares anymore, guys. No, absolutely nobody cares. It's all out the window. It's all irrelevant. International law, serious violations, it doesn't matter. The only thing that matters right now is kinetic capacity, kinetic power, strength, the ability to wield violence. That's the only thing that matters, guys, right now. Now, let me just throw this out there, because the Iranians, they've come out and they've said that they're vowing revenge for the they're vowing to avenge the IRGC are vowing to avenge the supreme leader's death. The president of Iran has called this an attack on all Muslims. That's what he's called it. So what do you think is going to happen across the West? Like, what do you think is going to happen across the West? And the IRGC are also saying that Iran are going to launch a crushing response, and I quote, with no red lines, vowing more strikes to come. So if we go back to what somebody on the chat said earlier, how the Iranians are going to launch weapons that they've never used before, and everybody's thinking, oh, you've got no secret technology. That may be true. However, they've got plenty of sleeper cells. Right, guys, I am going to close this down. I'll be back on in like an hour or something. I'll give you guys some more updates. And until that bombshell, ladies and gentlemen, make sure you stay safe. Stay away from crowded areas, because I think the likelihood of stabby, rammy goes up massively in the United Kingdom. Anyway, guys, I will be back on very soon. I'll see you later. And if you've not done so already, hit those buttons, like, comment, subscribe, bell notification.